From Cornwall to Birmingham and Johnston and Bexhill, here's Ruben Spire on the radio.
Hello to Taylor Lavalley. How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. So can you tell me, how long have you been a singer-songwriter for?
How long? My whole life. I know that's a very generic answer, but since I was young, I've always had a love for writing and expressing myself. And I grew up in a musical family, so it's always been around. But I've been doing it professionally probably for around 10 years now.
So can you tell me, what was it like going into the recording studio when you first did your debut EP called Dear Dad?
It was fun. I went and did the EP in Montreal with a producer. His name's Hugo, and he's worked with Sony, and he's just knows his stuff. And we really hit it off. It was actually like a studio in his basement. Like he had his own entire setup, which was really cool. And I learned a lot from him during that. We ended up writing together afterwards, and just we really clicked. But recording that was fun. It was my first time ever really getting to experience that process. And I was very fond of it. I loved it so much. It's nice, you get in there and sometimes you have an idea of how you want your song to sound. And then you both start fiddling around with the song and you're like, actually, I want to take it here. And so it's just it's very cathartic. And sometimes it's just really fun and interesting. So good experience overall.
So can you tell me more about your debut single called Black Widow?
Yeah. So I wrote that in a half hour. And how it happened actually is, so from working with Hugo up in Montreal and kind of learning the tricks on how to, I guess, record and track your own material, I got the setup at my house and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to try this. And I did one pass through, just literally singing anything that came to my mind. I was just kind of ad-libbing. And then I kind of liked with what I was doing there. So I stopped on the computer for a minute and started jotting down the lyrics. And it just overall, the lyrics and melody came to me and was all together in a half hour. So it was fun to go back and actually record it as a song. And so, yeah, sometimes that happens. There's sometimes a song will take days, and then there's songs like that just come to you. It's a feeling. I don't know.
So can you tell me more about Too Late Now?
Too Late Now. That is one of my favorites. I wrote that years ago, probably 8-9 years ago. I wrote that song, and I had just gotten out of a really, you're young, you get out of a crappy relationship, and yeah, that was one of those songs where I said what I needed to say, and all of it is very on point. But I had a good time writing that song, and when I brought it to my band, they're the ones that essentially came up with all of the instrumentation on it and really brought it to life. So yeah, I've been playing with them for 10 years, actually probably more now that I think about it. Oh my gosh. We're pushing almost 15 years. Holy moly. That's wild. But anyways, so yeah, I brought the song to them, and they just a couple pass throughs and they just got what I wanted it to sound like. And that's how it stayed ever since. And we recorded it as a live band too. So that was a really fun experience.
So can you tell me more about your band that you are part with, that you're in?
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit. So when I didn't start in this band, I started in a band when I was 16. My first band ever. We did a lot of rock covers and stuff like that. Not really any originals. And I really wanted to do more originals. So I just started playing more solo on my own. And then I'm friends with a girl named Carrie, and her dad is a really well-known musician in my area. And she goes, I really think that you should talk to my dad. Like, I think you should go over to my dad's house and like just show him your music, show him your songs. And he's got a little studio that he like could record you on. So I went over. His name's Kevin Connolly, and he was so great and recorded my songs, put them on a disc for me to have. And then I just told him, I'm like, I really want to start a band. So he knew a guy that knew a guy that knew a guy. And we all got together for a practice. And, we had a couple people we started out with, and they just wanted to do something different, which is totally fine. But the guys that we have now, they've all played together over the years. They're like my brothers. They're goofy, they're funny. A couple of them are really quiet, but they crack some really wild jokes. And Kevin, in particular, he's like a father figure to me. I kind of envision because my dad passed when I was younger and he was a musician. So I kind of feel like Kevin and I are doing what like my dad and I would have done, So it's really fun. They get me. They put up with my crap and my annoying self. And anytime I throw a song idea at them, they're right on it. So it's been a joy getting to play with them.
So I'm guessing you prefer to be a part of a band than being on your own as a solo artist.
I love it both, I love getting to go out and, when I play solo, I play all of my originals, things that I would have just written yesterday. And, taking requests and doing off the wall songs I wouldn't typically do, but then they end up being like so fun. And then with my band, we go out and play the songs that we're good at and just have it's just good vibes all around on the stage, they're family. So I can't say I enjoy one more over the other. But yeah, it's a good time.
So can you tell me more about your debut album called Take the Edge Off?
Yeah, so that was recorded live in at a studio in St. Albans, Vermont, here in the United States. And we sat in a studio and recorded it live, one pass through, because there's songs that we've played out live for quite some time now. So we had it pretty down to a T. And then it was just so fun to listen back and have all of us in the room. Because sometimes, you go in and it's just like this person does their parts and then someone goes in tomorrow and does their part. But no, we were all there that same day recording this stuff. And Andre, who did the production, was awesome and made it a breeze. And that was fun. I will say the song Take the Edge Off, that's the one that we usually open with because it's got such a good live, it's like a good kick. It really starts it off strong. So
can you tell me more about the Christmas single that you released called Christmas With You?
So Christmas With You. So I had this idea of wanting to do a Christmas song, and I've been pitching it to Hallmark and stuff. I know a couple people that work within that realm, and I'm really trying. I'm like, are you just, it's very Hallmark if you can just take it. So I have a friend that does Hallmark movies, and I wrote this song specifically with him in mind because I've watched all of his movies, and I showed it to him, I sent it to him, and so maybe one day we'll get there. But I honestly wrote it specifically with him and his movies and dialogues in mind. And it's really about just like as you become an adult, and especially since I've had a child, I would be lying if I said that Christmas feels like magical like it used to when you're a kid, you know what I mean? So this song is just about enjoying the little things and feeling like a kid again, smelling the food cooking because you have this huge smorgasbord of food, and just the little things that make Christmas so great. And a lot of times that's being with your person or your people. So yeah.
So can you tell me more about your latest single called Still in Love?
Yeah, so that was just released right at the end of April. So I've had that written for a while, and I just couldn't quite figure out what I wanted to do with it. If I wanted it to be more upbeat, slow. Um, so I have a producer now that I'm working with on this next EP project. His name's Ryan Hayden. Fantastic. I have to tell you a funny little backstory on him. So he played in this band called Hello Control. They were like alternative, kind of like Lead Kings, like that kind of vibe. Um, but he played in a band that played at my high school one year for like a fun day because he's a little bit older, and I just remember how funny it was because all the girls were like Ryan, Ryan, like freaking out, going nuts over him. And fast forward years down the road, we end up working on music together, and he's so good at his craft. I didn't even know that he could produce music like he does, but he came to my house and brought all of his portable recording stuff, and I showed him the song, and I'm like, this is the one that I want to record for my first single. I had something totally different in mind for how I wanted it to sound. Some different chord progressions. The bridge that's in the song wasn't even there. It was very cut and dry song. And he just like helped me. That's the beauty with working with other musicians. He came up with these like really catchy chord progressions and was like, we really need to put something else lyrically right there in addition to everything else. And we just worked really well together, decided to go more upbeat with it. And so now it's like a breakup anthem, and I love it. I love it so much. And that wouldn't have turned out like it did without him. But I wrote that song basically as like it starts out kind of like sad with the piano, and it's telling the person like, you broke my heart, like I think you forget that I'm hurt and stuff. But then the chorus hits and it's like, I'm actually not hurt. I'm going to go out tonight and not even care about you, you know? So I tried to really do like a storyteller thing on that, but then it became poppy.
So you said about you're going to release an EP soon. So I'm guessing you might be releasing some more singles from that EP.
Yes, we're going to start working on the next one here shortly. I have been obsessed with this song. I don't want to give too much away, but there's a couple songs that I play out, and it's called Stupid Is What Stupid Does. And it's just a funny play on like, you hear people talking about this guy you used to be with, and you realize how dumb you were to actually be with this person. But it's funny how the title was inspired. I was watching Forrest Gump one day, and I don't know if you know her. She's like, "Stupid is what stupid does," and I'm like, that would be such a good song title. Like, so I do that sometimes. If I think of a title of a song that is just like a good hook, I'll jot it down in the notes on my phone, and I finally used it one day, and that's what I used it for. So that hopefully will be the next single. It's an upbeat country song. It's a drinking song. Yeah.
So have you thought about writing with another artist, doing a collab with another artist?
Doing collaborations. I really want to. So I have this friend, Gabby, Gabrielle Carlson. She's got music all over. She's kind of laying low right now. She's expecting her next baby. But we wrote a song together over text, just using voice memos and texting back and forth. And it's called Upstate. And it's, so where we live is very, I don't even know how to say this word right, rural. But that's where we live. And it's very, the way we live is a lot like people like in the southern states. However, we just get snow a lot. We get dumped on with snow, but we still ride tractors and plows and do all the things that they would do on a Friday night. So we wrote this song together kind of as an ode to where we're from, but just stating that we're not so different after all. And that's kind of what the message is we may be here and here, but we're the same people. So it's actually a very positive message, and it's kind of funny and quirky, but it definitely explains where we're from really well. So hopefully, I'm trying to get her on the EP to cut that with me and do a collaboration. So
that'd be good to hear. So,
yeah.
can you tell me what gigs you got coming up? Because I know you got some coming up in June. So, can you tell me more about them?
Yeah, so June 6th, I'm going to be playing at a place called the Naked Turtle in Plattsburgh, New York, which is near where I'm from. And it's a really cool marina area. A lot of boaters from Canada come here, so it's a really fun time. They have live bands there and everything, but I'm doing a solo set. I take requests, I do all that stuff. A lot throughout the summer. You know, if you check me out on Facebook, you can catch me. I'll be in Nashville in October, the last weekend in October, heading down to Myrtle Beach in August, things like that coming up. So if you're not from where I'm from, maybe I can catch you around somewhere else. But yeah, June 6th is the one coming up that I'm pretty excited about. They're just opening for the season, and it gets crazy there.
So, what about any thoughts about coming to Europe or maybe the UK? Some great independent live venues in the UK.
It's on my bucket list for sure. I'm really inspired by Lainey Wilson, and I just saw where she did a UK tour and a Europe tour, and I'm like, I want to do that so bad. The energy and vibes over where I love it. I love it. It just, I would love to do that someday. Yeah. Where do you suggest if I were to ever go to Europe or the UK? Like, what towns or like clubs? What do you suggest?
Have you heard of the great band from Birmingham called UB40?
Yeah.
They played their very first gig in King's Eve, a very independent live music venue.
Very cool. I would love to one day. It's on my bucket list. I'm coming for you, Ruben.
Yeah, that's one to check out. There's another Kitchen Garden Cafe, a very small acoustic, for doing acoustic shows. So that's also in King's Eve. So that's another area. Or to go a bit further afield, in Worcester, Great County Worcester, where I'm on the border from Birmingham to Worcester, where I live. There's a great independent record label. Also got a not independent record label, but independent record shop that has got a live venue that you can. They don't charge you to hire it, but they allow you to keep your the money that you charge.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So if you bring out an album on vinyl, that's a place to go.
Yeah, for sure. I love that too. I love that there's so many places supporting independent artists, and that's why that JMA awards that I'm going to in October, it's people from all over the world that go all the way to Nashville for this, because it's their 10-year anniversary of like just putting shining a light on independent artists from all genres and walks of life. So people should really check that out. And like I said, it's from all over the world. So it's really cool recognition and a great way for other independent artists to get their name out there. So wherever you're from, you should check out the josiemusicawards.com. It's really cool. It's really cool.
So I hear that you got nominated for the Josie Award. So can you tell me more about how did that make you feel being awarded for being nominee on there?
Yeah, so I got a nomination for emerging artist. I can't find my words today, but it's for emerging artist is the nomination, and they're still coming out with different categories. So like there's fans choice that fans actually were able to put in for the nomination, and then we'll see. Hopefully Still in Love, I submitted that, and Christmas with You for hopefully a nomination for holiday song and song of the year. So we'll see what happens. I'm really, really grateful because last year my mom and I went and attended the awards as guests, and I made it a goal of mine to release new music this year and get nominated and be able to go back as a nominee, not just a guest at the show. So it's really fun, and I'm so excited to meet everybody. I get to bring my husband with me this year, so to be able to kind of show him how all of it works and just have him be a part of that and get to meet people from all over the world, it's going to be a blast. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. So
finally, can you tell my listeners where can they find you on your social media?
Yeah, so the place that I'm on most often is Facebook. So you can find it. The handle is Taylor Lavalley Music. And you can also follow me on TikTok. I'm not the best TikToker, but that's usually where the jokes and funny videos are, or like me putting on makeup, if you care to watch that. And I'm also on Instagram, but it's Taylor Lavalley Music. And you can stream my music wherever you listen. Got some new stuff coming out. My new single, Still in Love, is out right now. So yeah, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for speaking to you today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Ruben.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too. Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.